So, to what lengths have we gone to in order to get, let's say, healed, feeling good, upright, being able to do stuff? And
oh, man. You want me to do the honors?
You have a much, much, much better story than me.
What's the quote? Healthy people have many dreams, the sick only have one.
I never heard that, but that actually resonates pretty good.
So, I mean, obviously, when you're that sick, all you can think about is solving it. It's almost like the question I should be asked is, what have I not tried?
Yeah.
I remember one year, because I check it, like I have a credit card that I only use for health stuff, so I always know at the end of the year what I spend. One year I spent $101,000. It was like $101,000 or $110,000 in 1 year. So I don't know how much money I've spent, but I've tried. I've done a lot of stuff. Cowden, tinctures, True Rife, cold exposure, antibiotics, colon stuff, stem cells, hyperthermia, bee venom, SOT, peptides, a million different supplements, different diet plans, keto. I don't know. I've done so many things, like it'd be hard to list all of them. I can kind of say like specific, like I remember key moments. Obviously in the beginning I had to do a lot of antibiotics, and I remember I took Coartem, and the doctor actually gave me way too high of a dose, and something about it took away a flavor of the brain fog that never came back. Ozone helped a lot. Hyperthermia was the first time I was able to come off antibiotics. That was 2 weeks, not the Germany one. I did it in Utah. And so you're in this suit with hot water and you're strapped down on this table for an hour. It's one of the hardest things I've done for 2 weeks, every day for 2 weeks. And that was the first time I got off antibiotics. I still do hyperthermia today. You can do it yourself. You just have to get your core temperature over 102 degrees.
Is that in the sauna or?
Can't do it. I can't do it in the sauna because you sweat too effectively. So your internal temperature doesn't get hot enough. It's got to be water. So you can do it in a bathtub, or I actually go to the gym and I pour water on the steam room. And I just tell everyone, because one guy tried to fight me once because I was doing this. Because they all leave, right? Because I stand up top, pour water on the thermostat constantly. It gets so hot, you feel like you're gonna get burnt or something. You have to breathe like this.
Yeah. Oh, I've done it.
So before I do,
I haven't done it in that sense, but I've done it like that to cover my nose with a towel or something.
And I'll be like, "Hey guys, is it cool if I pour water on the thermostat?" And then they're like, "Yeah." And I just keep pouring it on. And they all leave. And then after, I'll be all hot and I'll get out and I get like an oxygen canister, do all this breath work and take a huge rip, and then you freaking just, because it's like oxygen plus the heat plus all that. Pathogens don't like that.
Are you sitting down when you do all this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I've done breath work standing up too hard, and I made a hole in the wall because I passed out in my bathroom.
Yeah. But
I've done cold plunge. That's one of I love that. I did a bunch of emotional work. I talked to Mark Wallen, the author of, I think it did start with you, to do family consolation stuff, look at my relationship to my parents, therapy, EMDR, psychedelics helped me a lot in the last couple years, heal with the brain and the trauma and the emotional, which I think for me at least, a lot of the healing process was a lot more emotional and unresolved things than I thought it was. And what else is there? I don't know. I've pretty much dabbled in, I feel like, almost every single treatment modality.
Okay.
And that's where, you can go in these Lyme groups, and bee venom saved my life. Well, it didn't work for me. So it's everyone has such a different path that it's hard to be go take an SOT or go do hyperthermia and you'll be fixed. It's these, I don't know, if I was to start all over again, it almost, first step would be find the best doctor possible. And then what are the highest likelihood chances, what are the highest likelihood treatments to work for my case, and just start trying stuff. I don't really know what else there is to do, because everyone's going to say, oh, But everyone, it's kind of almost like diet. Like someone's like, oh yeah, all I eat is fruits. It's the best. Well, maybe that works for you. It doesn't work for this person.
Yeah.
So that's where Lyme's kind of hard, because like I can talk about all the things I've tried. So it gives people ideas and then maybe stuff for them to do. But there's just, everyone's so different. Everyone has a different co-infection array. Bartonell's always been my biggest pain in the ass. Like Bartonell's always been the one that's kicking my ass this whole time. So, yeah, that's pretty much. I've pretty much been willing to do anything.
No, we had this conversation before one time. I was like, "Hey man, would you go down on Fremont Street and suck a dick in order to?" And I'm like, I don't think there's anybody that's Lyme disease who would say no. Like,
I mean, if God came down and said, "I promise you, 1,000%, if you suck a random person's dick on Fremont Street, you'll be cured of all your Lyme today," I'd be like, all right, whatever. I'll do some therapy after to fix my brain.
I think there's a couple naturopaths that I know that would recommend it. This show's going to go sometimes off the rails, but no, yours is a lot more extensive than mine. Mine was, doxycycline. Then I went to snake oil Sparks. She actually poisoned me with candida, with albicans and other snake oil stuff. And then I went back to Shaw. I got Rocephin because I told him, like, dude, doxycycline, isn't there limitations with it?
Doxycycline, when they gave me doxycycline, that's when Joseph Smith came.
Okay.
When I finished my cycle, that's when. So I told him never give me doxycycline.
Yeah. But here's the other thing. Well, I could hit this real fast. Doxycycline, you read any study, it has like a 2 week to 1 month efficacy because the bacteria actually builds a tolerance, and then so people get it at first in New Jersey. I talked to pharmacists and they're like, doxycycline, any doctor, doxycycline. And I'm like,
that's if you catch it early, right?
Well, this is long term. Like, they're still doing it for a long time.
Because I know, like, if I just barely got bit and I took doxy,
it's good for the first 6 months.
I'd cure it
because it's in your blood.
It's already gone too far. Doxy's kind of a tricky one. Yeah,
because it just can't penetrate. So Rocephin is the same thing. It's limited. I have actually, and I'll post something. Actually, we could do this, but I'll post something on the site that has like how the different antibiotics work and what their limitations are. So anyway, I did that. Then, that was September of 2017 when I started with that. When I first got diagnosed. And then November of 2018 is when I did my first SOT. And
I did that too.
And then for me, I felt good after 9 months. That's when it actually, like, to me, it made sense what they were explaining and what I understood. And like, no one was doing it. Sloan was like the first one doing it, and then everybody else started doing it after that.
Did you just do the Lyme one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Lyme one helped me a lot, but the other ones didn't.
Yeah. So, and then, again, everyone's going to be different. Like,
but
for
the
me,
Lyme SOT helped a lot, though.
Yeah, my Bartonella, I had Bartonella.
Oh, you did?
Right up until the point when I did my first SOT, and then it went away.
Really?
And then my Babesia was there for that first 9 months. And again, like, so all my antibodies came back over 9 months. Like, I went from, 1 or 2 showing up on Western blot to all 5. And my Babesia went away. So it brought my immune system back because it lowers the load. And then, at that point, like, people were still like, mostly down there, they were like, hey, supplements. And I'm like, I started reading on stuff. People were giving me stuff for anxiety and stuff had mushrooms in it. And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't like shrooms, fun shrooms.
Yeah.
It was like just shit. And I'm like reading it and I'm like, okay, hang on. This stuff is like, I had a little bit of brain spack at that point, and I'm like, okay. I started looking at it just differently. As soon as I did that, and it's everything. Like with the software company, I looked at stuff different. Everything. My approach has always been, and fortunately, I think that's probably what helped me the most is just my own way of stuff. I wanted to do stuff and research it. So, I knew the antibiotics were bad. They were giving me candida. They were just not. The more I read, the worse they were.
People are wondering why I have these. It's because I just left Ebu, an extremely expensive ozone IV where they put an IV in this arm, run it through all these lights, big ozone machine, then it comes back into this arm, so it's in an open loop for an hour. That's pretty cool. Too expensive though, and I'm on Methylene Blue.
Methylene blue. Oh, so
Yes.
that's something else I did. I didn't mention. There was something in between. Like after I did my SOT, it was like, okay, let's oxidize you. So, and that's what it's supposed to do is just, I guess, more
Sloan was
oxygen.
giving you methylene blue?
I believe it was him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's a couple things that I got from him over the time period. There's a couple other doctors that I saw. Then it's like, okay, let's treat your co-infections, which I'm a firm believer in. Okay, now especially, but even then, like you have to balance out your immune system before you do anything. And I kind of got that with after the first SOT and the Babesia and Bartonella went away, and all my bands came back. Which I actually am going to post my tests and his tests so everybody could see like we're not full of shit and we're not somebody who's like, oh, we had Lyme disease, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we have it. So we'll post it.
You'd be a weird person to want to.
No, there's people who do it because there's people out there selling stuff and they're like, oh, I had it. Like
no
Snake Oil
shit.
Sparks. Like she don't have Lyme disease, but she'll sell stuff and tell you how bad,
I don't even.
No, there's scumbag people everywhere. There's
Must be a lot
predatory.
of money in Lyme, I guess.
There is. That's the whole thing with like all the antibiotics.
Yeah.
All the antibiotics are the easiest thing to just give people pills. So a pharmaceutical rep will come in. That's an easy sell for them. Treating somebody is not like going through stuff. Okay, so IVIG. I'll get on that. So
Yeah, I can't wait to do that.
so IVIG is pretty much healthy blood cells, healthy white blood cells. So everybody donates red blood cell plasma. We all know about that. But there's also really healthy people that they do a test and you have healthy white blood cells.
You want to say what it stands for?
So it's
IVIG?
immunoglobulin IV. So it's your IgG. If you have low IgG, which most people with Lyme disease have that, if you don't go outside, you're going to have low vitamin D. There's a plethora of things that you could test for. I test for a ton of different stuff. Monthly, I try to do it, or like my Lyme tests are usually, if I'm doing a treatment like SOT, I do them like almost quarterly. Now I'd probably do it every 6 months because it's not going to move the needle because my bacterial load's so low. But I got an immunologist, so I highly recommend. I don't know how you've taken with him so far, but like we have like one immunologist here in Vegas, it seems. And I like this guy because he is a lab doctor by nature rather than a physician. And a physician is obviously somebody who's, American Medical Association. They're going to be bombarded by pharmaceutical companies and all this kind of stuff. So they're going to be a little skewed. So I got on IVIG in July 22. And I want to say you start to feel it almost immediately, but it takes like 6 months for it because your body's just not accustomed to having.
You were doing it once a month?
Yeah, at first I started off with 30 grams once a month.
And then you went twice a
Yeah, and I did 20 and 20 grams each month with a Octagam. So you got to make sure also that you're getting like the right brand because there's a couple brands out there, and I could post that too, of what not to take.
I'll have to ask you once they get me approved.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's Octagam, or there's a couple other
Octagam?
ones. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's I think a derivative of a Pfizer company or something made out of Germany,
Okay.
and because
It was yours with Optum you're doing it?
Yeah. I think you're going to get the same. I think he put it in the same order. Don't do it at home. Don't. Sub-Q, I think, comes with something else.
They're saying they're going to send a nurse to my home to do the IV.
Yeah. And there's a guy in Nebraska that's doing it at home, and he's getting Octagam. And I think it's through the same United Healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll remind you.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, like it took. I want to say it took about 6 months because you're just introducing a foreign object to you.
But you're seeing results pretty quickly.
Yeah, you start to, and like if you have neuropathy, which a handful of people do, a lot of people with Borrelia infection, they're going to have like neuropathy because the autoimmune aspect of it is your immune system's eating at your nerves, so they're going to have the shakes. You're not going to be able to walk. And when I first really started studying, like I didn't go to school, but just on my own looking into it, I should say, people with long COVID, because that was when really cytokines became more of a forefront right now because of an easy infection that's buzzword and current. And people were going in, and with COVID, they were just getting up. They were fine. They couldn't walk, and boom, and I know COVID has autoimmune stuff, but it's nothing like obviously.
Is it where, let's say, when you went in for your first IV, you felt a little bit better that very day?
A couple days later, I felt sluggish and slow. It was like an immuno
it's
response.
kind of like a little bit like, ooh, and then you kind of feel a little bit out of it, and then a couple days later you start feeling better. So it's kind of like a little bit of...
Yeah, you get a fatigue
Yeah.
from a cortisol, immuno kind of adrenal response, from the inflammation. You're tired. So think of it like you're...
And it's not... Is there any risk, like, your body reacting poorly?
I think you get headaches, stuff like that. Renal stuff, like your kidneys can react bad. And I have kidney stuff from back in the day, whatever I've done. But I test.
It's weird. It was weird. This one guy tried to give me some services for my business. He said he got Lyme. He did super high dose IVIG, like IV, like back to back or something weird for like 2 weeks, and then he was fine after. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but I don't know if IVIG over 6 months could get rid of the symptoms and I could exercise fully again.
I mean, that's your metric that you're going for is exercise. Yeah.
Can I go lift weights?
Yeah.
And 2 days later, not feel like shit.
So you're going to, and what I recommend to everybody is like, okay, as soon as you get it, you're going to probably in a week be able to feel something. If you're going to know in a week if it's affecting you, like out of the gate, and you might because you're young. Then again, I always say 6 months because like that's when you're really going to feel like consistent results where it's not going to just, maybe you might get a couple days. Like one of the guys just had it and he was like, hey, I could clean my house for the first time after my first dose. But it only lasted like a day or two for him.
But still, I give someone hope.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's proven. So IVIG has been around, and here we go. I could bash insurance companies at this. IVIG has been around since the 70s. It used to be $9 for a mayonnaise jar of it. And then health insurance companies were like, hey, we're making people healthy. Let's get a hold of this. So doctors would take a scoop out, sell it for $9. Insurance companies got their hands on it, and they're like, okay, now I pay for my 15 grams. It used to be 20. This Juliana at Optum reduced my thing because she tried to tell me that there was a shortage on it, but this was after Luigi Mangione smoked that prick and friggin' they were going to say, less anesthesia. So United Healthcare had to cut their costs somewhere else, so they cut back my immunoglobulin and take my shot. And
I heard it.
So this is going to be full of it. So yeah, I'm doing 15 grams twice a month, so it's 30 grams again. And
it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, it takes me less than 2 hours. I mean, once they start juicing me, it's about an hour and a half. And my body's used to it, so they know and they could crank it. And no, I feel good. Like, I want to say, so I started it in like this June of 22. By July of 23, I'd never had any more symptoms, like nothing since then.
June of 22?
Yeah, for 2 years now, nothing. So it took me about a year for it to really give me like a consistent feeling where I had no ifs or ands, like, okay, this shit is working. And again, like, you're sick.
Yeah.
You've been through a gauntlet, right? They beat the shit out of you along the way. So whether you take one thing and it lasts for a couple of weeks and you feel good, it's the same cautious tone that I've taken with everything that I have. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that. I mean, that's where I feel like I've done so much and I've gotten to where I'm at. Because I'm definitely highly functional. I still have some bad days but it's not. My bad days now were way better than my best days back then. But I feel like maybe it's one of those things where finally it's like, let's say this is the tipping point. It could be one of those things, and who knows, maybe it doesn't work. But it finally gets it over that tipping point. Because I feel like, and this could be totally wrong, but with your immune system and the pathogens and your health, I feel like once you hit a certain tipping point, then it's going to go like this, because then let's say I can exercise again. Now that's going to give me all these benefits, and that's going to make my sleep better, and that's going to give me all these benefits. So I feel like once you kind of get beyond a certain point, then the health is able to, right? And same thing in reverse. If your health gets to a certain point, the pathogens are too strong. I mean, you're just on that downward spiral. You're screwed. So it might be one of those things where, it's the final tipping point for me, which is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, and it gives you like this. For me, it's like consistent, like I've been in a stressful situation since right now. Yeah. And even one of my buddies hit me up last summer. I was dealing with something with mold with this property management company, Remax United. And they like screwed me over. I mean, like they're getting hammered by the real estate division. But they didn't clean up the mold. So here's this stressful, where I'm living, right? Mm-hmm. My buddy goes to me, hey man, and he's known me since 99. We graduated UNLV together and all. He's seen all this stuff. He's like, are you sure you're going to be able to take this on? Like filing a complaint, you're going to get an eviction notice, how's your anxiety going to be? I'm like, you know what? let's jump in the fire.
Yeah.
This is proof in the pudding right now whether this is going to work. And like I've always, my therapist is like, you always challenge yourself. Like subconsciously you do things to challenge yourself. So, yeah, I mean, like I smoked right through that. I mean, I laid them up with all sorts of stuff. I documented it like to the T. Right now, I have an attorney going, we're about to hammer him with a court case.
Yep.
And like everything from, the photos of them spray painting over top of black mold underneath the sink. Like they're idiots. And, and again, I went to China, so I understand the culture. They have an autocratic culture where, they need to be controlled because it's a hive kind of mentality. It's bizarro land. You go there, you've been across overseas and you've got to see
Hong Kong. I've been to,
but you see how it's like more of a collective, and they're more independent thinking than a communist culture. So you have to, approach them in that way. And they were like, no, it's your fault. I'm like, okay, listen, we're not in your third world country. We're here now. Yeah. It doesn't work like that anymore. So I was able to, navigate not just where I was living, right, and a legal system, but now I'm arguing with somebody on their terms and holding them accountable for it, which at the end of the day, we'll see what happens in the sense of financial stuff. But like I was able to dive through that and have every bit of my mind rocking and rolling. And no, I mean, like the anxiety was healthy. I mean, it was good. It was like tension. It was confrontation. It was the stuff that, I used to feed off of. Now, do I still feed off of it? No.
Yeah.
And here's something that people have to realize. You have now PTSD that you have to work through because you've had, for me, in my case, like I had 11 years at that point of having, let's say 10 years of good every time I got into something or I hurt myself or whatever it was that created an immuno response where, my cytokines from the bacteria went crazy, my immune system attacked me. Now it wasn't attacking. So it's like, okay, hey, you're good. Let's go. Let's attack. And yeah, I mean, I can show on paper my IgG levels go up and it correlates with it. If I stop IG, they dip down.
Which, going back to that mayonnaise jar thing, how much would IVIG cost without health insurance?
$5,000 a pop.
$5,000 an IV.
Yeah.
And then with insurance, it's like $50 copay or something.
It's the IVIG is actually like $1.
Which, if we want to talk about insurance bullshit,
that's a whole.
I haven't had insurance the whole time.
Yeah.
I wanted IVIG. I go see this doctor December. It's June now, so it's been 6 months.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
I've had health insurance the whole time. I still haven't been able to get IVIG.
And it's an approval process.
6 months is a long time to wait. I'm functional, but if you're super sick, 6 months is an eternity.
Yeah. And it's how
day
you,
is an eternity.
Yeah, it is. And I get it. And I sit back and I got to talk to people every.
So we have a system where these sick people with brain fog, vulnerable, can't decipher what's true or not, have no energy, are depressed and anxious, have to battle with insurance and doctors and fight for their lives against all these systems to try to feel better, and they have everything against them. And if you don't have money,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think there's
that's an intense.
So the money thing, like I'm finding more and more, and we're going to see how you feel. We're going to see how other people feel. Mm-hmm. And if it ever gets to the point where I can really kick something in, I'm going to try to get this all for free. Like I think there's means of getting like an SOT, which SOT is the only thing that I know that will stop the bacterial growth. Other than that, then it's a correction of the immune system, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So, like, you got to correct the immune system. So I did the IVIG. I then did Xolair, which stops IgE antibodies, your other form of white blood cells, from forming a bond with your red blood cells. So your red blood cells, let's say you have a bump on your arm. I fell on the bike. I had a bump on my arm while I was doing IVIG. It went up and it went down like within 30 minutes. It didn't stay.
Snap.
So it disperses. Like your blood will go and start healing, but it reduces the inflammation. Now for us, it helps because you're going to have mast cell as your immune system comes back, right?
Histamine, mast cell, all that.
This stops that. So you have to do it at one thing at a time. You have to do like you and even right now, there's so many people who are like, oh, I want to do them all. I'm like, my thing is like, see how each one functions for you. So I did that for a bit.
Yeah.
I just stopped just because of other stuff, because it won't go into it right now, but I also feel like you need to pump stuff from time to time, let your body see how you feel, check back in with things. Like I stopped doing IVIG, for a month, and I didn't feel bad, but like I watched my IgG dip.
Is IVIG something though you do for, let's say, 2 years and you stop, you never have to do it again? Or is it one of those things you gotta maintain?
I think my take right now, what I'm trying to do is retrain my immune system. That's what my immunologist and I, like, we've strategized.
Herman?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So what I'll do is I'm going to do this. Let's say this. I've been sick for 10 years, right? Your body has been conditioned. It's like behavior.
And it has all the, like, let's say, for a while, I can eat a wider range of foods. But for a while, my body was so used to a food triggering me that, let's say the food didn't even physically trigger me, my body's still going to react a certain way because it has the trauma.
Yeah.
And that's where, like you were talking about, how you kind of used to get off on kind of like going into the fire and stuff. I've had to like try and train my, like every time maybe I get too angry or something, it's like, oh, okay, now my immune system's getting hit, and I have to like retrain my brain. Instead of being type A, be type A minus almost. So I had to stay calm instead of like revving up, and it goes in survival mode, and then all of a sudden.
I think it also comes with age that you start to like realize, okay, there's an intense time to hammer at people. There's, and that actually benefits you with like getting people motivated even more now. Because sometimes I'd just be intense in something. Now, like coming across really calm, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm dealing with somebody in the medical field, who's stymieing me in the insurance thing. I'm like, hey, listen, NRS 45A is medical professional negligence. Do you realize that your name is going to be in a public suit? And all of a sudden they're just like, let me get my supervisor. Sir, sorry. So
you start citing the guy.
Yeah, well, you have to do this because they don't. There's no
stand for again, like
Nevada revised statute. So there's laws about this where, like, there's people preventing you from getting your help. And whether they're directed by.
Man. Yeah, maybe one time we do like a class on how people can talk like that.
Yeah, well, you need to be able to advocate for yourself, but you need to watch because there's a time when to jump on somebody, like, and then if you find a doctor that you need to do that, that's not the right doctor, which is another thing.
Right.
Like, so you're stuck with healthcare and you're stuck with a huge system.
Yeah,
so that's
insurance.
That's
you have
another
a good
thing.
Doctor in a bad system.
Yeah,
and then you still got to fight the system.
Yes.